Now, streaming live across the heart of Cowboys country, it's your opportunity to ask questions to Cowboys insider Mickey Spagnola. This is Silver Star Nation Interactive.
Hello, everybody. I'm Wes Moore. Glad you could join us this Tuesday afternoon for Silver Star Interactive. It's your chance to ask our Cowboys insider Mickey Spagnola your questions. Go to Twitter, use the hashtag AskMickey. We'll bring in the man. Mickey Spagnola joins us from the Star in Frisco. Mickey, how are you doing?
Great, Wes. How's it going today?
It's good. It's good. We kind of have some breaking news to start the show off with today.
Yeah, absolutely. Cowboys kind of made some minor roster adjustments so far. They did release veteran corner Brandon Carr along with offensive lineman Alex Light. I would imagine that kind of signaling that Anthony Brown, who had been on injured reserve, had been their starting corner, he's served his 3 games on injured reserve, so that maybe means that he's ready to come off and be able to join the 53-man roster. And then also they signed another offensive tackle, Greg Sennett, off the Browns practice squad. So when you sign a guy off a team's practice squad, they've got to be on your 53-man roster and a guaranteed 3 weeks. So they did that, and also signed offensive tackle William Sweet to the practice squad. So a few moves there at the bottom of the roster. Brandon Carr really didn't get much of an opportunity to play much, but again, if he clears waivers, if they want to, they could basically sign him to their practice squad if they wanted to keep him around. So we'll see where that one's going. A lot of moving parts because of the injuries, and I might as well just say this: I understand everybody's frustration with the team with a 1-3 start, but if I count Gerald McCoy in this group for these last 3 games, 4 games. They've been without 8 starters. That's a lot of starters to be out. No backups, but mostly starters. So that's something that they're going to have to continue to contend with. And I know, Wes, people in the league are dealing with injuries probably at a higher rate this year than normal.
Do you know anything about the offensive tackle from the Browns that they signed, Sennett? Is there a connection there with the staff, or how do they know about this man?
Yeah, you know what? I'm not quite sure on that yet. It just happened before I kind of mic'd myself up here to do this. And I was getting ready to go get my phone to check it out, and then I realized, I told them to set up the camera and didn't have a cameraman, so I hated to ruin my shot. So hopefully by the time we do our next one, we'll know something about him.
All right, well, let's dive right in. What do you think's wrong with the defense?
Well, I just think that they're trying to do some things with their personnel that the personnel is not fit to do. One of the things they were trying to do is run a 3-4 defense, and I just don't think they have the defensive ends to run a 3-4 defense, and then they're asking their 4-3 defensive ends to be stand-up outside linebackers, and that they haven't done that before. So that's a serious transition they're asking themselves to do. The other thing is when they ran a 4-3 defensive alignment, and they really needed to against a Browns team that wanted to run the football and would run a lot of 2 tight ends, would run a fullback, you need a strong side linebacker. Well, they don't have a pure strong side linebacker. They were trying to play it with their defensive ends standing up, Aldon Smith, Dorrance Armstrong, and I'm not sure how well that worked out either. So I'll be interested to see if they make some adjustments. It really hurts this team in a game like that they don't have Leighton Vander Esch and they don't have Sean Lee. You've taken 2 potential starting linebackers out. Joe Thomas is kind of, can do a little bit of everything. But again, and then when he's in the middle, Jalen Smith is playing the weak side for the first time. He's never played the weak side. except for the start of this season, and they were trying to make that transition. And then at times, I think, you know, he was a little bit lost out there also. So again, you know, one of the things, Wes, that I keep hearing, people complaining that the Cowboys just didn't have a lot of effort. Well, I think they had effort. They just weren't good enough to do what they were being asked to do, at least not yet. And I know it's only 4 games in the season, and as I wrote in my column on DallasCowboys.com, I hate to make a 4-game conclusion when there's still 12 to go. So I think there's probably still hope, but they've got to do, I think, a better job of self-evaluation and figuring out what my guys are capable of doing and what they aren't capable of doing.
You mentioned the 8 starters out. Who do they miss the most? I know it's subjective, but who do you think they really need back?
Well, I think they really need Leighton Vander Esch back. They also need their corners back. You know, two of your starting top 4 corners were missing with Anthony Brown and Chidobe Awuzie. And then from there, La'el Collins. You know, they got spread thin at the offensive tackle position. They made the switch in-game after Myles Garrett started ruining the offense against Terrence Steele, the undrafted rookie, that they not only started, but really didn't give him much help early in the game. So they moved in Brandon Knight, who's got a little bit more experience, not much, and then they gave him some help. A little bit of chipping from the running backs and putting a tight end over there. So between the linebacker spot, the offensive tackle, and cornerback, that probably kind of covers it all.
All 8 back. Get them all back. Well, who's most likely to return first?
I think Anthony Brown. He's eligible. He's served his 3 games that you have to serve on injured reserve. So he's eligible to come back. Chidobe Awuzie has to sit out 1 more game. In the part of practice we get to watch, I see him working on the resistant cords, so that bodes well for him returning. But with, you know, Vander Esch and Sean Lee, when they were placed on injured reserve that first week of the season, you know, they had surgeries, so they were kind of 6 to 8 weeks out. So I'm not sure how quickly they'll be back. And it sounds like La'el Collins is going to have hip surgery, possibly as early as tomorrow. So he's probably done for the season. You know, and to complicate things at that offensive tackle spot, Cam Irving suffered a pretty severe MCL strain of the knee. And he was kind of thinking they thought he'd be out maybe 6 weeks. So he's still got a ways to go. So, yeah, a bunch of these guys are still got a ways to go before they're ready to come back and play.
Well, with the defense struggling, the offense has to be almost perfect, and we saw once again on Sunday back-to-back turnovers. You go from 14-7, you're leading, all of a sudden you look up and it's a 28-14 game. Just like that, they got to cut out the turnovers.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? You know, one of them was kind of weird. The first one, Dak's getting ready to throw the ball in the pocket. I don't think he really held the ball that long. And Myles Garrett beats Terrence Steele and gets the strip sack, knocks the ball out of his hand as he was getting ready to go forward. They recover that. And then if you go back and look at Zeke's, that was just a strange one to me. It was a great run. He gets tackled, kind of spins him around, and he lands on the guy's helmet. So I don't know if he thought he might have been down and relaxed, but he wasn't on the ground technically. And then a guy came over the top, and you know, if you go back and look at it kind of frame by frame, it looks like maybe part of him hit the ground before the ball came out. I just thought after I looked at it, it might have been worth challenging, just to say, gosh, I got to do everything I can to avoid 2 consecutive takeaways, especially, you know, in that part of the field. But they chose not to. The turnover stand, and then both of those turnovers led to touchdowns. So, yeah, you know, you're right. They need to be perfect. And, you know, you're going to have an undrafted rookie get beat by Myles Garrett. He's pretty good. So you got to do what you can to help him out. And then the one at the end, you know, Amari Cooper said, hey, that one's on me. He's got to run through that route. He let the guy cross his face, and you can't let that happen for that interception at the 4-yard line. You know, if you're going to run into him, then run into him, and if he gets called for interference, fine, but you can't pull up short and sell out your quarterback. And if you saw Dak's reaction when it happened, he had hands on the hip looking like, what the heck? And then afterwards, he took the blame for trying to fit one into a tight window.
Well, Mickey, I've seen it written, and I want to get your opinion on this. Some believe maybe the Cowboys, because of the poor defense, should go back to a ball control offense and run the ball more, try to keep the defense off the field. I know how explosive that offense is with all those wide receivers, but does that idea make sense?
Well, unfortunately, when you fall behind by 27 points, running the ball is probably out the window, right?
Yep.
Because it ended up being 41-14 before the scoring subsided. So, yeah, all of a sudden you've taken Ezekiel Elliott out of the game, and they were running the ball early, right? They were running it well. They turned it over. So there was no pure cure to say, okay, let's just hog the football. The turnovers, you know, I understand, you know, trying to throw the ball and getting sacked, but they scored 31 points, or 38 points, excuse me, and we're on their way to 45. So I don't think you can pull back and just say we're going to run the football, because if you do that, teams aren't going to. They're going to see that. You know, how are you going to run it? You're going to run 2 tight ends and just say, okay, we're coming right at you, and we're good enough to do that. I haven't seen them do that. So they just got to play cleaner. They got to clean that stuff up, and they got to get healthier, and they got to find somebody to play right tackle to help them out.
Mickey Spagnola is with us, and you can ask him a question using the hashtag #AskMickey, and we have a question for you. It's not Monday, so it's not Overreaction Monday, but I guess it's Overreaction Tuesday. Is it time for the Cowboys to admit they made a mistake and get rid of McCarthy?
I was waiting for that to happen. Yeah, I don't think that they're going to do that. Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones both addressed that question on their radio segments Monday and Tuesday, and no, it's not time for that to happen. You can't just immediately, you know, it's like I always say, it's like, you know, when people go out and buy a car and then 4 weeks later they go, I think I like that one better. Well, you don't just go and get rid of your car, right? You kind of hang in there for a while. So I think that they've got to see this through and give him a chance. One thing to remember, when he was in Green Bay, his first year, they started off, if I remember correctly, 1-4. They ended up finishing 8-8 and had a good finish. Now, I know 8-8 here is not going to appease anybody, but he did have a slow start the first time he was a head coach at any level.
8-8 may win the NFC East and get you into the playoffs.
Yeah, well, yeah, it might win it by 2 games the way things are going.
Mickey, thank you. We will see you next Tuesday, hopefully, with a better result and some better things to discuss.
I'll see if I can whip this team into shape.
All right. Thanks, Mickey. Join us next Tuesday for the Silver Star Interactive, 3 o'clock. Thanks for watching. We'll see you then.